He spent 27 years in prison, not for a crime but for an idea. When he walked out of that prison, many expected revenge. Instead, he chose forgiveness. This is not just the story of a man. This is the story of how moral courage defeated a system built on fear. In the 20th century, the world witnessed many leaders rise and fall. But only a few changed history without hatred. Only one turned chains into unity. His name was Nelson Mandela. This is the story of a boy born in a rural village, who became the symbol of freedom for millions. Nelson Mandela was born on July 18, 1918, in a small village called Mvizo, in South Africa's Eastern Cape. His birth name, Ralilala, literally meant troublemaker. Few could have imagined how prophetic that name would become. He was born into the Thembu royal family, but his childhood was far from luxurious. When Mandela was only 9 years old, his father died, and his life changed forever. He was sent to live with a local chief, where he learned discipline, leadership, and the power of tradition. At school, a British teacher gave him the name Nelson, a common colonial practice, symbolizing how African identities were often reshaped by imperial rule. Even as a child, Mandela noticed injustice. Black South Africans lived under constant control, humiliation, and inequality. And the system enforcing this cruelty had a name, Apartheid. Mandela studied law at the University of Fort Hare, one of the few institutions open to Black Africans. There, for the first time, he encountered organized resistance. Student protests opened his eyes to the possibility of change. But activism came at a cost. Mandela was expelled for participating in protests. Soon after, he fled to Johannesburg, escaping an arranged marriage, and stepping into a world of racial brutality. In Johannesburg, Mandela worked as a night watchman, then as a law clerk. He saw daily how Black South Africans were beaten, arrested, and stripped of dignity. In 1944, Mandela joined the African National Congress, ANC. Alongside young activists, he helped form the ANC Youth League. Their goal was clear: to dismantle apartheid through mass resistance. Apartheid was not just segregation, it was legalized racism. Black South Africans were forced to carry passbooks. They were banned from white areas. They could not vote, own land freely, or receive equal education. Mandela believed peaceful protest was the answer. Throughout the 1950s, he led strikes, boycotts, and civil disobedience campaigns. For this, he was arrested repeatedly. In 1960, everything changed. Police opened fire on peaceful protesters in Sharpeville, killing 69 unarmed people. The massacre shattered any illusion that apartheid could be ended peacefully. Mandela made a painful decision. He helped form Umkhonto we Sizwe, the armed wing of the ANC, not to kill civilians, but to sabotage government infrastructure. It was a decision that would define his destiny. In 1962, Nelson Mandela was captured by the apartheid government. At the Rivonia trial, he faced the death penalty. Standing before the court, Mandela delivered one of the most powerful speeches in history. "I have cherished the ideal of a democratic and free society. It is an ideal for which I am prepared to die." The world watched in silence. Instead of execution, Mandela was sentenced to life imprisonment. He was sent to Robben Island, a prison designed to break men. Life on Robben Island was brutal. Mandela slept on a concrete floor. He was forced to break rocks under the burning sun. He was denied contact with his family. But prison did not break Mandela. Transformed him. He studied his enemies. He learned their language. He understood their fears. Slowly, Mandela became a symbol, not just in South Africa, but across the world. Free Nelson Mandela became a global cry. While behind bars, Mandela evolved from a revolutionary into a statesman. On February 11, 1990, after 27 years in prison, Nelson Mandela walked free. The world expected anger. Instead, Mandela spoke of reconciliation. He negotiated with the very people who imprisoned him. Against all odds, apartheid ended peacefully. In 1994, South Africa held its first multiracial elections. Nelson Mandela became the country's first black president. Rather than revenge, he formed a Truth and Reconciliation Commission, allowing healing instead of bloodshed. Nelson Mandela served only one term as president. He stepped down willingly, proving leadership was not about power but responsibility. Mandela passed away in 2013, but his legacy lives on. He taught the world that courage is choosing peace over revenge. Leadership is service, not dominance. True freedom includes even your enemies. It always seems impossible until it's done.